Okay guys, now that you've gone through the engineering notebook lesson, so this is going to be an example of what an engineering notebook is. So you have your title page. When you open it up, the first page is going to be your table of contents, right? And you're going to do this table of contents for each of your projects. So this table of contents is for a paper airplane launcher. You can see that I have my design process. Then I have my design brief where I go over an overview. I talk about the problem statement, the design statement, the specifications and constraints. Then I have my brainstorming or research area, right, where I'm going to go over paper airplane designs. I left a blank spot so I can fill it in if I'm going to put something new in there. And then I have a base sketch and a lift sketch. And then the last page is going to be a timeline or a Gantt chart, okay? And so again, this is just the preliminary table of contents. Now, you're going to leave some blank space until you're totally done with all of your research and all of your steps in your engineer design process. Now, when you are done, you want to make sure that there are no blank spots left where additional information can be put in by somebody else, because this is your record of your project, right? And then when you're done with everything, you would sign and date it. So that's our table of contents page. You can see that I'm not using this page, so I've marked it off so nobody else can put information there. And then this is my design process background. So this is where I did some research on the background of why we need to have a paper airplane launcher, right? And then this is where my problem statement is, right? So the three questions that I'm answering in my problem statement is, what is the problem or need? Who has the problem or need? And why is it important to solve? And then I'm leaving the problem statement blank right now because you guys are going to be working through this as you go through it. The next page is going to be the brainstorming research section, right? This is where I go through some of those different brainstorming activities, right? So I'm starting to find out why it is important, right? I'm talking about potential energy, kinetic energy, talking about where that kinetic energy is going to be placed, right? So I have some charts here showing my kinetic energy, potential energy for rubber band at rest, when it is pulled back, and then once it launches that plane, how it transfers from potential energy to kinetic energy. And this is kind of my research area, right? I left this page blank so I continue my research. Here, my paper airplane designs, right? So here's an example of a mistake, right? So if you make a mistake, you're drawing something and it just doesn't look right, you're going to cross that out. You're going to make sure that nobody else can change it, and then you're going to put your initials. So I have a traditional, I have a glider, and then I'm going to do a short nose, right? So those are some examples of paper airplanes. And then as you would continue on, you would start doing your data collection, right? So for this particular project, the next step that I would do is I'd make these paper airplanes, right? And then I'd test to see their distances, right? Without propulsion, right? And so for this particular project, we're doing a rubber band paper airplane launcher that's going to launch your paper airplane without the bending of the wrist. So it needs to be stationary, it needs to be connected to your wrist, and it's going to launch that paper airplane without you bending your wrist. So you're going to do that baseline data collection first, and then you would go on. And so this is our baseline. This is our baseline engineering notebook. This is the start of it, okay? And then, like I said, for each project, this would be that table of contents, right? And so after timeline Gantt charts, then I'd start going through my prototypes, and I'd start collecting data on all my different prototypes that I went through. And then I'd also list my final conclusions for the final project, right? And that would be also listed here. That's why this part's blank right here, because we haven't done that yet. Okay, guys, if you have any questions, let me know. That's all I have for today.